Hello, everyone. It is time for movie review time. It has been a long while since I did one of these movie reviews, and now, since I'm under very strict orders to rest and relax and not lift or bend or do anything that I should be doing, what better way than to sit my ass on the couch, watch some really good movies, and bring you some reviews on it? So, the movie I just saw, Black Phone. It's a 2022 movie starring Ethan Hawke, Mason Thames, and Madison Mcgraw. Now, let me tell you the premise of this. So, if you Google it on IMDb or if you look at it on Peacock, where I watched it, the premise is a 13-year-old gets abducted by a child serial killer. He's locked in a soundproof basement and he starts receiving phone calls on a disconnected black phone from the killer's previous victims. Now that sounds really, really interesting and scary. So when I saw that premise, I'm like, yeah, I definitely got to watch this movie. So the first thing, it is a Blumhouse production. For those of you who don't know Blumhouse, they make really good, scary, psychological thrillers. Those are the ones Five Nights at Freddy, Megan, the whole Paranormal Activity series, the Ouija series, the Insidious series. I mean, Blumhouse goes on and on. You could check it out. Not only do they do movies, they also do TV series. Basically, if you're going to watch it, it's going to be a good film as far as horror, but it's not going to be necessarily a film that is what everybody's talking about, if you know what I mean. So definitely check out Blumhouse. Great films. So now, this movie, it stars Ethan Hawke, Mason Thames, Madison Mcgraw. Ethan Hawke, you may have known him. He does a lot of movies. He actually plays the villain in this, and I will admit, I did not realize that was Ethan Hawke. The villain, you don't really necessarily see his face, so I didn't know it was him. The only reason I knew it was him because obviously with the credits and everything like that. So he plays the villain. Other movies he played Nikola Tesla in the Tesla movie, which for those of you who just watched my video on Tesla, you might find that interesting. He was in The Purge, Dead Poet Society, White Fang. I mean, he has a list pages and pages long. You could check him out on IMDb. Great actor, but he's the villain in this one. Mason Thames, obviously young, cute, rising star, great actor. I think Mason Thames, he's going to be one to watch for in the future. I really think if they can get their act together with the whole movie and production and the writer's strike, I think you're going to see a lot more of Mason Thames. He's only 16 years old, so there'll be more of him. And then, of course, there's Jeremy Davies. Now, he played the father in this movie, and instantly when I saw his character, I'm thinking Manson. He looked exactly like Manson, which is funny because one of Jeremy Davis' credits is he played Manson in Helter Skelter. Anyway, you'll see him a lot more in movies because he's definitely a type character. He plays the same character over and over and over again. Lost, Twin Peaks, Lucifer, Sleepy Hollow, Justice League. He has an impeccable resume as well, but it's always small bit characters. And it's the same type of weird, creepy, think Manson type character. So basically, that is your cast list. So for me personally, this movie, I feel like this was like 4 movies in one. This movie could have gone in so many different directions, but let's get back to the title. The title is Black Phone, and the premise talks about receiving calls on the black phone. But you know something? The black phone doesn't come in until much later in the movie. They started it out, and with the start of all the movies, they have all these interesting stories. So the movie itself takes place in Denver, 1978. And what's great about this movie is you see so many classic references. I mean, I almost want to say that they paid for the subliminal messaging of advertising because they do hone in a lot on the old type of drinks, like for example the Sprite bottle, the different beer bottles. Somebody was drinking Crush. It's like throughout the movie they almost hone in and zoom in specifically on materialistic things. But the fact is, it's from the past, which makes it even funnier. In fact, there was even the famous percolator with the cornflower blue Corningware coffee pot that they zoomed in on. I just thought that was funny. I mean, most people wouldn't even realize that. Me, I look at details, so I noticed that. So Jeremy Davis, he plays an alcoholic father who has two kids, brother and sister. The wife apparently has died. He's an alcoholic. The one storyline, I mean, I want to say it's a coming of age story because obviously you're going to see the story from the kids' point of view. They go to school, they get bullied, they get into fights. So it's like it opens up with a whole baseball game and stuff like that. So it's like the first few part of the movie is all about the schooling. And it could have probably stayed nothing more than a school film. But then, of course, kids start disappearing. You've got kids being abducted. And what are they being abducted by? They're being abducted by a madman with black balloons. Now, what's interesting is this movie is actually based on a short story. The short story was written by Joe Hill, called The Black Phone. They had to make they made a couple of changes, obviously. Whenever they transpose something from a movie to, from a story to a movie, they always make changes. It's pretty accurate to the story, with the exception is they added more victims in the movie, and they made one change. The fact that the killer in the movie is a magician, not a clown. In the original story, the villain was a clown. So it was basically a clown going around kidnapping kids. But here's the problem. That's a direct knockoff of the movie It. And particularly Stephen King's It. Particularly since they've already released 2 more movies of It, and It is a big thing. They decided, which was a good change him to a magician instead of a clown. So that was one change from the original story. The other change is they simply added more victims, which actually, from the movie perspective, made it interesting because now you know it's a serial killer. Anyway, so the father is taking care of these 2 kids. Now, he's abusive. He's an alcoholic. He's a dick. He really is. What was interesting is they started this storyline, which it does come into play throughout, but I would have loved to see more on the storyline because he starts beating his daughter because she has the gift of sight that the mother had. So I guess the mother was psychic. They really didn't go into details about it, but the daughter starts having dreams and she starts seeing these visions of the kids getting kidnapped, which is leading straight to the whole detective story of trying to find these kids because she knows details that were not released to public at all. At the same time, there's a very disturbing scene. It disturbed me a little bit, but it's like it implied it, but you didn't actually see it, where the father is like literally with the belt beating her up and she's crying and screaming and stuff like that. And he's pretty much telling her that it's just a dream and whatever. But with her tears in her eye and everything like that, she goes over to her brother and just like sits down next to her brother. And I was almost hoping that the brother would like embrace her or console her, but he was so angry at his father that all she did was simply just take her head and lay it right down on her brother's shoulder. I would have hoped that maybe they would have had a scene of him embracing her and holding her or embracing her, but they didn't. So I almost feel like that was a missed opportunity on that one, but whatever. So then you have the creepy magician that comes. And let me tell you something. This magician is creepy. He does have a mask. I didn't realize it was Ethan Hawke at all because, like I said, almost the entire time he's wearing the mask. I think there was just one scene where he was actually doing the initial kidnapping where you see his face, but that's really it. He got so old you don't even realize it's him. Anyway, throughout the movie, he's wearing different masks. So it's funny. So each of his masks has a different mouth opening. There's one mouth opening where it's completely covered. There's another one with like teeth. There's another one like sinister. So you will see the different mask faces throughout the movie. Obviously the kid gets kidnapped. So now you got the 13-year-old locked in the basement. Here's where it gets weird. And that's why I'm like, I was watching this movie and I'm like, okay, this isn't making sense. But I understand it if you start extrapolating it. So the kid starts receiving phone calls from a disconnected black phone from the previous victims of this killer. So what that leads me to believe is obvious, just as the sister had the gift of sight, The brother has a gift of sight too. It's just in a weird, twisted way because it's manifesting through the telephone as opposed to manifesting through dreams. Take it as you will. Each phone call is made from the victims, and it leads more and more into, how should I say, the seriousness of the situation, because basically they're warning him that he's going to kill you. But the killer is doing it in a specific way because he's always leaving the door unlocked because he wants the kid to try to escape. This way he can beat the hell out of the kid and kill him. Very interesting. The movie is great. I mean, obviously what's going to happen, like I said, spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you what happened. The kid is going to prevail and kill the killer and escape and survive and live happily ever after. There's very interesting fight scene and workup scene, and there's a whole interesting conversation with each of the ghosts. I'm going to call them ghosts, whatever you want to call them. Apparitions, ghost, whatever he's seeing. Very interesting conversations between the two. I especially like the one where one of them is training and literally telling him, okay, this is how you kill him. And how do you kill him? It's with the black phone. He basically is teaching the kid, you're going to take the black phone, you're going to fill the phone up with dirt, like you're going to unscrew it, fill it up with dirt, screw it so it becomes heavier, and then you're just basically going to beat the shit out of the guy. The movie itself, I'm going to give the movie a 5 out of 10. And like I said, the reason I'm going to do 5 out of 10, because you know something? It was a great movie. No question about it. This is the type of movie for me you see once, and then I'm probably never going to see it again. And it'll be one of those movies that if anybody says, oh, Black Phone, I'll be, oh, yeah, that's a good movie. I don't see this film as a movie that I'll watch over and over again. I also don't see this film as a bad film because the story was interesting. I mean, I was in it. I was involved in the movie. I wanted to know what was going to happen. But at the same time, like I said, I felt like it could have gone in so many different directions. They could have kept with the whole school theme. They could have kept with the whole psychic ability theme. They could have kept with the serial killer. In fact, I would have really, really, really liked to see more of the serial killer aspect of it and maybe more of the demented, because I feel like they concentrated too much on the kid with the phone calls instead of how twisted the serial killer was. But that's my personal preference. So I'm giving the movie 5 out of 10. I recommend it. It's one of those movies, yes, watch the movie and then you'll probably forget about it after it's over. So once again, the movie is Black Phone. You can see it on Peacock at this time. 2022 film based on the short story by Joe Hill. And stay tuned for more. I'm probably going to be watching more movies. I might not necessarily do a video so quickly right away. But remember, if you like these type of movie reviews, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm a small channel. I'm just starting out right here. I want to do some more videos. I want to do some more movie reviews, and I want to bring to you some of the obscure films that maybe you may have heard of or may not have heard of, or if you're just randomly flipping through the channel, say, hey, should I watch this movie or should I not? My recommendations, Black Phone, it's one of those movies, watch at least once. Enjoy it. If you like it, watch it, but it's not going to be a memorable movie after you see it. So with that, everyone, have a great day. Take care until the next movie.